Hey, you like Elden Ring? So I'm pretty sure we all know what Elden Ring is at this point. The game that nobody was able to shut up about in 2022, a game that I personally think is a modern masterpiece, clearly by the financial struggles this game has given me over the years. This isn't even touching the surface of what I have. Like, send help. But love it or hate it, you can't deny how successful this game is. So fast forward a few years later, and to reinforce that point even more, we have Elden Ring NIGHTREIGN, a game that we thought, hey, is this just going to be Elden Ring 2? But no, it is something completely different and something we never really would have thought FromSoftware would make in a long time. It takes the Souls formula we all know and love, slaps in a roguelike element into it, and a Fortnite-esque circle that closes in on you over time. Not only that, we have a completely new set of bosses, but in order to get to them, you have to spend 3 whole days trying to prepare yourself to actually fight it at the end. I know this is a lot to take in, but honestly, it somehow all works. I love this game. That's not all either. Even the bosses from the Dark Souls trilogy make their return too. This was probably the biggest pull this game had after it got revealed. Combine everything I just listed all together and we have NIGHTREIGN, my personal favorite multiplayer experience that has come out this entire year. So without further ado, let's dive into—
Like complete garbage cash grab slop. I can't believe FromSoft is stooping so low and just lazily reusing assets like it's nothing. They've really forgotten what made their game so good, and now they're never going to go back to what the real fans appreciate. The old source formula is dead. FromSoftware is dead. They're just corporate shills now. You're an idiot for buying this slop and supporting it. Bring back what made FromSoftware so special.
I've just topped over 100 hours in this game at the time of making this video, so it's safe to say that I really do enjoy it. I find myself doing at least one run every day now. This game has me hooked and I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. Since the game was a roguelike, the uniqueness was my primary concern with NIGHTREIGN. I wasn't sure how much the game would pull me in to keep on playing consistently, since that is what the genre is made to do. Now that the game is fully released, I can safely say a lot of my worries were lifted with the game, but some of them were still sticking around, unfortunately. And those worries were very, very big. It doesn't really sour my opinion on the game too much, it's just big things that I really hope get added and worked on in the future. This game has a lot of potential, so let me get my negatives out of the way first. The matchmaking for the game can get really rough, especially for Remembrances. They have sent out a fix for it, but sometimes I still take a while to actually get myself a match with randoms. Whenever I do Remembrances, I just kind of squad up with friends and I don't need to wait forever. But unfortunately, not a lot of people can just say, hey, hop on NIGHTREIGN, I need to do Remembrances. Some people are either going at the solo or only queuing with randoms, so it's something that I really hope does get fixed even more. It is better, but it still needs some work. I genuinely don't know why, but the lock-on system in this game is somehow so much worse than the OG game. I'm at a point where whenever I just deal with a few more enemies or a boss and I'm trying to get my teammates up, I just turn off the lock-on completely. It helps me so much more. I don't know why the lock-on is as bad as it is when it was perfectly fine in the regular game. Sadly, my biggest concern with the game is kind of happening right now. Some runs can indeed feel a bit samey. I think it just comes down to having one base map. Limveld is nice and all, but I am dying for just a few more maps. The good part is they can easily do this. You have Liurnia, Caelid, Atlas, Leyndell, and so much more! Look at all these locations you can choose from! I'm sure it's so easy to just grab a general section of the map, grab a bunch of enemies, bosses, buildings, randomize them all together in this gigantic blender, and voila! A completely new map for completely new experiences and completely new runs. It just ends up feeling a little bit more unique. I'm going to use it to transition to another negative that I have as well. See, when this game first got revealed, there was a big outlier I'm sure everybody pointed out when they first saw the trailer.
What the? Whoa! What the fuck? Dark Souls 3?
That's Nameless King, bro. Bro, what?
Wait a minute! Okay, like no, why I got that bitch?
Nameless King!
Really? Oh my god, the Nameless King, I'm gonna come.
Is that the name? That's the Nameless King? Nameless King? What the fuck? Shit. Oh my god!
Nameless King? What?
Wait, Nameless King? What?
I'm actually like hogging in real life bat chest right now.
Nameless King? What the fuck is that?
What the fuck? What?
Yeah, seeing Nameless King was a bombshell. The fact we were getting Dark Souls bosses was just huge. I'm under the belief that that gave the game even more pull than it already had. People are gonna buy this game regardless. It's Elden Ring. The name has more pull than anything. But now we have Souls bosses coming back with these updated models and their original themes coming alongside them too? Yeah. Count me in. Do you guys remember my tier list video where I was fighting a sickness for almost 2 weeks straight while trying to predict who from this boatload of bosses from the trilogy was gonna make it into NIGHTREIGN? Starting off... yeah. Me too. Now, do you see how many bosses there are? You see how many there are in the entirety of Dark Souls? Yes, I'm sure you do. So, how many bosses from this gigantic list do you think actually made it? I'll give you some time. You got a number? Well, the amount of Dark Souls bosses that actually made it in a Night Reign are...
6.
Yeah, that's right.
6.
After the endless amount of hype we had knowing these bosses were all coming back, we only got 6 of them. And honestly, that leaves me a little disappointed. I don't want to blame FromSoftware or anything like that, but they really emphasized the Souls bosses like it was a big thing. After Nameless got revealed, we go to the Night Reign trailer and the first thing we see is Duke's dear Freya running around. It is kind of feeling like I got a little jebaited, like if I gotta be honest here. I will say though, on one hand, it is still a big deal to have these bosses back. I just can't help but feel a little disappointed and honestly saddened at how little we actually ended up getting. I do like the bosses they chose though. I mentioned this in my previous video, but this also applies to enemies. Elden Ring has a really diverse group of enemies out of all FromSoftware's games, but I really wanted to see some Souls enemies make the return as well. At least some of them, man. This backs up the whole uniqueness and randomization and runs point I was talking about earlier. When I say lack of Souls elements in this game disappointed me, it's not just me asking for the greatest hits ever. I don't just want to see Artorias and Sif together or Gale or any of these hype moments and aura bosses ever. I'm not saying they're any bad because of course they're one of the best they've ever made, but I don't only want these. I'd love to have some lesser bosses make their return too. Can you imagine your team taking out the Deacons of the Deep in one of the churches, fighting Pinwheel and it spawns in an army of clones that all share an HP bar? Screw it, man. Just have Prowling Magus and Congregation sitting in one of the camps. Why not? There's endless possibilities for them to continuously add literally anything from the Souls games. We do have the Symbol of Avarice, so why not add weapons and equipment from the trilogy too? I'm also very confused at the severe lack of Shadow of the Erdtree stuff in Night Reign. I would have understood them wanting to strictly stick to the base game, but why do we have Golden Hippo and Demi-Human Blade Masters running around if that's the case? There's no way out of everything in the DLC you guys gave us mutated Mudang and Yoda. So I think that's pretty much all my negatives for this game. I could try my best to think of all the small stuff that barely even matters too much, but I don't want to be the most pretentious person alive. So let's move forward to why I think this game is my favorite multiplayer experience of the year so far. I think the best word I can describe Night Reign as is addicting. I did mention that runs do feel samey at times, but I keep finding myself on this game every single day. I'm honestly surprised at the clutch this game has on me. I thought this would just be something I'd hop on with a few friends every now and then, but no. As much as online randoms can frustrate me,
And when I say online randoms, I mean Iron 9 Executor players that leave after dying one time. Yeah,
You guys know who you are.
but yeah, even if I'm solo queuing with randoms, I constantly have fun during my runs. I always pick a different character each time for a little more variety. Speaking of the characters, I love the cast of Nightfarers at our disposal. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Shen's Nightfarer ranking. This is an objectively correct list, and if you have any complaints about it, then you can see it with the council. I don't guarantee you will be leaving alive though. We have a real colorful cast of characters here, so let's see who I love the most and who I love the least. The list goes as follows. Number 8, and in dead last, is going to be Revenant. I really hate to say this, but FromSoftware's newest doll lady feels like the weakest of the cast. She's not bad by any means. Nobody in the game is really bad in my opinion. It just feels like you work the most to get her going specifically. Her passive is really good during the entire expedition until you get to the Night Lord. Reviving killed enemies to fight alongside you is a really cool novelty, but it's pretty much useless against the main bosses. Her summons are very good for specific reasons, however. I love pretty much all of them equally, and I think Frederick is one of the best things ever. But the thing that they're best at is reviving teammates. When you know what you're doing with Revenant, you can keep your team alive no matter what. I think that was their main goal when designing her, but there's still a bunch of things I think she really needs help with. Her signature weapon does a lot of damage to the revive gauge, which is why I always keep it around. However, why is it a fist weapon from Software? Why are the things called the Revenant's Claws a fist weapon? I genuinely am having a hard time understanding this. The thing really keeping her back is a combination of the abysmal health bar of not only herself, but also her summons. They get melted so quickly, and it really sucks. They really gotta buff these summons, cause my biggest one, aka Sebastian, dying as quickly as he does is really insufferably bad. She still has good tools to her, but she's probably the most difficult character to make work in the entire game. Number 7 is going to be Duchess. Now I know I'm going to rustle a few feathers when I say this, but unfortunately I just kind of don't like playing this character in this game. She actually was my favorite character back in the network test. I really enjoyed her high risk, high reward playstyle. Her Bloodburn style step dodge and quick dagger moves that she has makes the Duchess the fastest character in the entire game. She can output quick bursts of damage before the enemy can even think of aggroing you. The absolute best thing this character has is her restage ability. It lets you replay the last 2 or 3 seconds of damage dealt to the enemy, including statuses. You hit a bleed or a frost proc, Duchess can rewind all of that damage, making it one of the most broken abilities in the game. She's also a hybrid DPS caster. She can shoot spells and do boatloads of damage due to her really good scaling and intelligence. This is where my gripes with Duchess start to set in, however. She's a character all about hitting quick bursts of damage with daggers being her specialty, so surely her arcane scaling would really be good so she can get statuses off, right?
What do you mean she gets a C-?
Yeah, her arcane scaling isn't that great, which is a little confusing. You can make the argument that she may be a little too strong if she had better arcane, which I would agree to an extent. Once again, her health isn't good, but it makes sense considering her playstyle. It's crazy how as time went on, I ended up liking her less and less than I did before. Her ult is also just the worst in the game. Its only real use is giving the team some time to recover themselves if they need it. She's still a great character though, just not my favorite anymore. And number 6, we have the Recluse. Now, this is starting to seem like I don't like any of the female characters in this game, but no, I promise this isn't that. Please don't cancel me. This is just a personal thing. I'm not really a caster player. It's not my style. Now, being this low doesn't mean she's bad at all. Like I mentioned earlier, no character is truly bad or even okay in this game. Everybody is great in their own ways. Back to the Wizard Lady. Being one of the most gorgeous characters FromSoft has ever made aside, she's an incredibly strong caster overall. Definitely the best in the game by a long shot. Sorry again, Revenant. The most interesting about this character has to be her magic cocktails. Recluse can mix and match different types of elements to shoot out 14 completely different spells depending on which combo you collect from both enemies or teammates hit by said element. These cocktails can do insane damage, support your allies, or even both. This system is one of my favorites in the whole game. It's really fun finding out what combos you can do in the middle of a frantic battle. That's where the double-edged sword comes in though. Combine that with the fact that her health bar is pretty much paper, and that's why it's so hard to play her most of the time. But with her S scaling in both intelligence and faith, she can melt health bars like crazy in the later parts of the run. She's a really cool character who's fun to learn and definitely one of the most interesting wizard playstyles I've ever seen in a game. Number 5 is going to be Executor. This guy's just pure fun. Half Sekiro, half Animals by Maroon 5. This character is the arcane build extraordinaire. He's got an S in that stat, so your game plan is pretty much staying on the front lines, getting statuses off, and keeping that pure DPS. I mentioned the Sekiro half, and I wasn't kidding. This guy gets an entire stance where he uses his signature katana and can deflect pretty much anything in the game. The parry windows are really forgiving and do some solid stance damage, and that's kind of where its usefulness ends. Yeah, I don't like the stance. It just doesn't do enough damage for me to consistently use it. It doesn't even bleed either, which is the bare minimum with every single katana to ever exist. Arcane character, by the way. You're spending the entire game grabbing these huge damaging katanas with a billion statuses, and you're forced to put it all away if you want to be Sekiro guy for a few minutes. Your dodge is also heavily nerfed in the stance too, so it's almost not worth using at times. I feel this character is meant for solo more than groups. It's hard to keep aggro so you can get the flex when the enemies are all over the place trying to kill your team. I feel like the stance may need a little buff to justify using it a little more. I think the best way to make this better is if they were to convert the damage and affinity of your currently equipped weapon to the stance weapon. It would give people more of an incentive to actually use it so much more. Now there is a tech where you can quickly go in and out of the stance to parry anything that's in front of you, so if you're skilled enough to try to pull this off, go for it. It's really useful. Good luck trying to make all this work while the boss is hard gunning for your Recluse every single time who's around 20 feet away from you. This guy's made for solo more than anything else in my opinion. I think it's genuinely the best way to use him instead of desperately swapping at enemies and praying they even think about glancing in your direction. I couldn't say the same thing about his ult though. This thing rips. You get to be a big funny dog that does big funny damage, and I love it. It's useful in every single situation and can really come in clutch during runs. I like this character a lot regardless of my negatives on his stance. Pure fun. Number 4, we've got the Guardian, aka the Wall. At first, this guy was at the very bottom for me. He didn't feel great in the network test and didn't feel good the first few times I played him in the actual game. But as time went on and I got better relics for him, I find him so much more fun to play now. I love the relic that lets you deflect enemy damage back whenever you have your shield stance up. It's so cool just blocking everything the enemy throws at me so my team can do damage and recuperate themselves. I feel like he benefits the most from the relic system, which I find really cool. Relics are nice, it's just a little small tidbit. I don't have really strong opinions on it. Guardian can not only block pretty much everything, but his extended tornado attack you get from the relics as well can deflect projectiles if timed correctly. Does really well against ranged enemies and Nullster, this goddamn forsaken bug. He can also instantly revive teammates with his ult and give the entire team huge defense, something that he also does better than Revenant. I'm sorry, this girl just can't win today. This bird boy is simple yet effective. I've been playing him a lot recently and it's been a pure blast, keeping my teammates safe where it counts. My only real negative I have for him is his relatively low damage output. He's meant to be the tank though, so I don't really mind it too much. I love Guardian way more than I did before and it feels so good constantly absorbing damage.
Hawk 2.
Number 3, we have Wilder, John NIGHTREIGN himself, the poster boy and the jack of all trades. This guy's pretty much the leader. He'll always be in the front lines doing constant damage and also keeping his teammates safe. He's the most flexible character in the game with efficient stat scaling across the board. Wilder just has this unique feel to him compared to everybody else. He's truly the main character and you can't really take it away from him. His grapple hook is amazing, by the way. Any game with a grapple hook is automatically good, and this is no different. He may have the most satisfying ult in the whole game to pull off. Fully charging the stake driver on his arm before blowing it up in someone's face never gets old. It's pretty much always an instant stagger, and it lets your team take a breather or just continue piling on the damage. I love this character so much, man. He makes me feel like the backbone of the team every single time I pick him. A Wilder will always serve a squad well. There's a reason he's the poster child of the game. Number 2, we have Raider. That is what I think of every time I pick up Raider. By the time I saw this guy get revealed, I knew right away he was going to be a favorite of mine. I love playing as this pure barbarian man. He's actually a master of more than one type of weapon in this game. Basically, everybody has a unique moveset with only one type of weapon, but this guy gets a boatload. All my big bonk weapon bros out there, this is us. This guy's all of us mashed together into one single man. Raider is our official strength representative. He basically serves as a tank with actual damage. His ability to absorb damage to the point where if he takes enough, he'll literally punch things in the face for a guaranteed stagger is my absolute favorite move in the entire game. His ult is also really fun. He lets out a guttural scream before summoning a huge totem that damages enemies and also buffs allies that are nearby it. I love using it until the enemy gets stuck inside it sometimes. It's kind of funny. I adore playing Raider though. I just wish that his moveset with colossal weapons was a bit faster. I understand he's supposed to be the giant lumbering man, but man, this moveset just doesn't feel that great to use. But regardless, he's everything I wanted out of a pure strength character. And at number 1, to nobody's surprise, is going to be my boy Iron Eye. When I play Dark Souls and Elden Ring, I've always wanted to play with a bow. It's kind of never been that good in its entirety, and it's never really served well as an actual build for the whole game. Most of the time you're either using it for a puzzle or you're using it on the side for some weird status damage for very specific situations, but that's all changed with Iron Eye. This is what I wanted out of a bow build in these games. Quickly firing endless arrows and getting consistent headshots feels so fun, man. I love it. This character is my favorite for a multitude of reasons. One of them being his mark. This thing is just a free bleed. Mark an enemy while being completely invulnerable and land enough hits for a huge burst of damage that staggers them 9 times out of 10. Did I mention there's a relic that gives them 2 charges that can prolong the mark effect if you hit them again? Yeah, that's just his regular ability. His ult is another story. Fully charging a giant arrow shot that can interrupt any enemy and shave off a huge chunk of the revive gauges no matter how far away a player is. It's basically Wilder's but with range. Iron Eye is him. He's got my favorite playstyle in the entire game and I'll never get enough of him. Unfortunately, a lot of people who play Iron Eye just leave after getting down once and give my character a bad name. You better stop it. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Iron Eye players. And Iron Eye never quits from an expedition, and if I see any of you quitting, I will find you. You're an idiot! So yeah, our cast of characters is one of my favorite aspects of the game. They're all so distinct and unique even outside of gameplay. The remembrances they have are another strong aspect. NIGHTREIGN isn't really a story-heavy game, but the backstories they give all the Nightfarers are still really sweet. I enjoy getting a new chapter after each run and going out to do personal objectives to progress their stories. Shout out to Revenant's ending, by the way. This cutscene really makes me hope FromSoft makes a horror game, because man, they cooked hard with her ending. It's so different from what we usually see in a game full of dark stuff in it. I don't know what it is. Even if you don't like some of the characters, I still fully recommend doing their remembrances. Who knows, maybe you'll find yourself a new main while doing this. Most of the skins they get kinda suck though, besides Raiders, who's just the best in the game. Speaking of skins, not only do we get the Dark Souls bosses back, but we also get some familiar faces coming back as skins too, and I love all of them. A big reason why I wanted to play more Guardian is because of his Solaire skin. I really hope more are added down the line because there's so many more options they can easily choose from the trilogy. This is just me, by the way. I usually wouldn't advocate for something like this, but hey man, if you wanna charge a few bucks for some DLC skins, my wallet may or may not be sliding out of my pocket for this. Anyway, yeah, the skins are a great addition to compensate for the lack of custom characters. I'm very excited to see what characters they have planned for the eventual DLC coming down the line. Personally, I would love to get a whip user or a monk style character. I feel like either of these would be super fun. Either way, the Nightfarers are all great and I'm really excited to see what they're cooking next. I want to delve into the core gameplay of NIGHTREIGN now. The game throws you into a breakneck pace to get as much gear as you can in the span of 2 nights. The rain circle closes in much quicker than you think and it constantly sticks in the back of your head during each run. I personally wish they gave us just a little bit more time, but I've gotten used to it at this point. The new movement options the game give us to compensate for the time limit feel so good too. No more Torrent guys, he's on vacation. So we get a super cool dash now. Not just that, but the wall jumping is such a simple yet amazing addition that makes traversal feel so much better. I went back and played a little bit of regular Elden Ring and it felt a little jarring not having these movement options. I don't know what it is, but there's something I love about clearing out camps and jumping the field bosses with my team. I don't think I've ever used consumables much in this game as I have NIGHTREIGN. Night Rain. They're all really useful, especially the boluses. I always eat any I can find because it gives you permanent status resistances for the rest of your run. I love the fact that each weapon you get has a passive alongside it that still applies even though you don't have the weapon currently equipped. It can range from really boring ones like a 5% resistance boost or periodical glint blades that automatically spawn around you. I love the passives like this one. It's super funny to see all these crazy effects shooting out all at one time. I also really dig the new effects they gave some legendary weapons. Passives like this make runs even more fun rather than just a tiny boost that does pretty much nothing for you. One of my favorite things about the map is the shifting earth events. They all have a different gimmick and it spices up the runs just a bit more. Each one has a different blessing that are all pretty useful. My personal favorites have to be the magma crater and the rotted woods. I love these events and I need them to happen even more. Can you imagine something like the Ringed City? Yes, with the archers too. Or maybe the Tomb of the Giants where each team member has their own source of light to traverse the place? Just a few ideas. Shifting earth as a concept has a lot of potential and I hope they make even more of them down the line. Like I previously mentioned before, we have bosses from the Dark Souls trilogy making their grand return. While I am disappointed that there are only 6, the 6 they chose are pretty solid picks. Smelter Demon and Nameless King making their grand returns were definitely my highlights out of the bunch. I truly think the game is best played with friends. Being able to communicate with each other makes the game thrive. I love to navigate and figure out the best paths for us to take as efficiently as possible, until Bellbearing Hunter shows up. Still though, I've already made some unforgettable memories playing with my friends, and most of them came out from the game's main event, the Night Lords. This cast of bosses is some of the finest FromSoft has ever made to date. Every single one is so completely enjoyable in their own unique ways. Every single one of them offer wickedly different experiences and movesets for us to figure out. My favorite feature they have is their weaknesses. Instead of just doing an extra smidge of damage, it actually has some meaningful effects that introduce completely new mechanics we've never really seen before in these games. There are really rare interactions that are kinda similar from the past, but it's only something like cutting the tail off a dragon or something. This is the very first time we've seen completely unique effects take place. It makes you want to use what they're weak to so you can give yourself a genuine advantage during that fight. I hope this is something FromSoft implements in their bosses in the future. It gives players the potential to experiment with different weapons to see what happens when using the main weakness. It's a little like Monster Hunter in a way. Honestly, some of these lords feel like they're straight out of Monster Hunter. Adele, for example, is a gravity-infused ravenous dragon trying to snatch up everyone with its massive jaws. It feels a lot like Deviljho on roids. It's funny because both of them have the same characteristic of having an insatiable hunger. It doesn't stop with just Adele either. This boss is just straight up self-this queen. Just look at this and try to tell me there's zero similarities. And then there's Caligo, who's Volcana but superior in every single way. Who said that? Not me! Speaking of Caligo, every single Night Lord in this game is absolute cinema. You get this sense of anticipation when starting the final day. You get to gather your bearings one last time before fighting a completely new foe you had to spend 2 whole days preparing for. When you're ready to enter the doors with an endless night pouring out of it, the fight finally begins. And each one of these fights is a completely unique experience. I adore every single one of them. I know I already mentioned Caligo, but just listen to this music for a second. Even my least favorite, aka Maris, aka Augur, aka Elden Beast's blue brother. I know I said I hated this guy in the previous video, but he really isn't that bad at all. I really changed my mind since. No guys, it's not worse than Elden Beast or any of these insane claims you people are making when talking about this boss. It really isn't that bad, guys. Be serious now. You can tell they experimented a lot with these fights, and Maris is a prime example. I might have mentioned this already before, but I hope the design elements of each of these bosses influence what we see in the future. There's some really cool stuff here. Now you may be wondering, Shen, you love all these bosses, but who's your favorite? Who's the absolute shining star in this endless night? Well, I'm glad you asked, but I have a question first. Wanna make a deal?
Make your choice. It is done. The time is ripe.
This is the Equilibrious Beast, Libra, my favorite boss in the entirety of Elden Ring NIGHTREIGN. It's not really close either. By the time this goat man got revealed, I immediately fell in love. And as more time passed and more information came out about NIGHTREIGN and we learned more things about this guy, my hype for him only went up. Libra is oozing with personality during every single second he's on screen. This guy is a 10 out of 10 in every single category. Before his fight even begins, he offers you a deal. However, each deal is a double-edged sword. Libra isn't called the Equilibrious Beast for no reason. You want a buff? Then have a debuff alongside it. It's a big risk and reward and one of this guy's coolest aspects. The fight hasn't even started yet, by the way. It's one of the most difficult fights to figure out. It's all about control with this guy more than anything else. He perfectly combines spells and attacks for a fight that feels completely fair. If you lose your rhythm against this guy, it's gonna be difficult to regain your footing. Out of FromSoft's entire catalog of magic-based bosses, Libra is definitely the best one they've ever made by a long shot. Eventually, he'll enter this meditative state where you have to break multiple sigils that appear nearby. You can also use a damaging O or Raider's uppercut to break him out of the meditation. You better break him out of it too, unless you want to deal with triple the madness spells. And when you do, awesome, now enjoy dealing with him going rabid for a bit. Another thing I love about him is his weakness. Libra is the first boss in the entirety of Elden Ring that's susceptible to frenzy. Yes, frenzy. The thing that's practically useless in the entirety of Elden Ring. It is so cool to finally see frenzy work on something that isn't just regular NPCs. Overall, I think Libra is a perfect boss. It's the best boss in NIGHTREIGN by a landslide, and honestly, I like him more than a lot of OG Elden Ring bosses. This guy is just that good. There's something I didn't purposely mention, however, and that's the Everdark Sovereign versions of the Night Lords. These are buffed up versions of the Lords that get completely new phases and mechanics, and so far, all of them are just amazing. They continue to improve these fights with even more unique mechanics for us to figure out. I don't think you guys understand how cool it is to jump into the Eye of the Storm after Adele conjures a literal tornado. This is some special stuff, man. So far, we have 3 Everdarks. They're spreading out the releases by giving them out one at a time, and now they're rotating them together in duos. I like this. You don't have to worry about FOMO, and it gives players something to look forward to every single week. It's better than just releasing them all at once and being done with it. NIGHTREIGN is a really interesting case. I really enjoy this game. FromSoft is once again taking an experimental leap and innovating their formula even more than before. Now for this segment, I want to talk directly to some of the people in the community here. The ones who are weirdly worried about the direction From is going with NIGHTREIGN and now Duskbloods. How can I put this in the easiest way possible? Just stop being dramatic. I find it really strange that people have immediately started doom posting and becoming so concerned about the future of FromSoft games right now. I can maybe understand where some people are coming from, but a lot of you are just worrying way too much and jumping the gun a little bit. No, online multiplayer slop isn't going to strictly be FromSoft direction from now on. They publicly stated this recently, so you'll get your single player experiences again. You'll have to wait a little bit more though. I'm honestly really happy that NIGHTREIGN and Duskbloods are a thing, because they're both something that I know Miyazaki himself values very highly with his games, and that's jolly cooperation. I'd argue that teamwork has been a big thing in this series since Demon's Souls. They've only given us more and more opportunities to provide ourselves with help on our journeys. Like look at Elden Ring Spirit Summons or the special interactions you get when summoning certain NPCs in Shadow of the Erdtree. It couldn't make it more obvious than that. Miyazaki has openly stated his love for co-op multiple times in the past. There's endless things you can go on that say, oh yeah, this guy loves this, oh my god. So with games like NIGHTREIGN and Duskbloods, I'm alright with what they're doing right now, and my faith in them isn't going anywhere. I really don't understand the sudden switch up people are having. Seriously guys, it is FromSoftware. When was the last time they truly made a very bad game in the past decade? Seriously, have a little more faith in these guys. So just please relax a little bit. It's going to be fine. I understand if you don't vibe with NIGHTREIGN or Duskbloods. It's not going to be for everybody, which is the beauty of these games. Not everybody's going to love Dark Souls 1, 2 to 3. Not everybody's going to love Elden Ring, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Armored Core. You do not have to love every single game that FromSoftware makes, which is the beauty of how they make their games. So if you do decide to skip on this and Duskbloods, I'm not going to blame you for that, especially considering to play Duskbloods, you need to cough up $500. So yeah, that's more understandable. I guarantee you FromSoft is definitely making their next big single player experience as we speak, so we just have to wait a little more if you want to have that again. And hell, if you want that again, look at all these games you could play. They're all really good. Play them. That one guy that doesn't like Dark Souls 2, play that game. I'll find you. Grow up. I want to close this out with some hopes I have for NIGHTREIGN's future, and it's just one thing. Variety. It's the biggest thing this game needs next to crossplay. More maps, bosses, enemies, siege, shifting earth events, Dark Souls stuff, Shadow of the Erdtree stuff, literally anything you can add to this game, do it. This game has so much potential that is waiting to be seen. Do not just abandon this game after the DLC rolls out. I'm begging you. I don't know what NIGHTREIGN is going to look like a year later. I'm just praying they have a lot of support planned for it. This game can be even greater. Please, just continue to give us more stuff. After all these Everdarks roll out and the DLC comes out, whatever they do plan on doing afterwards is something I hope does happen. I want more things to do. I want more reasons to play this incredibly fun game. I want it to keep its clutches on me the way it does right now. You're clearly doing something right with this game right now, so if you keep on improving the things that I don't like about it, I'm going to be playing this game for the next, 5 years. I'm not even exaggerating. I already find myself doing a run every single day, so if you keep on making me do that, I may be doing even more than that. I want to be consumed by NIGHTREIGN even more. I want to sit in the endless night. So yeah, that's my thoughts on NIGHTREIGN. This took a little longer than I wanted it to make, and I'm doing a bit of a new style of video, so if you see me glancing back and forth from my camera through this entire thing, it's because I'm actively reading the script as I go. It's just probably something I shouldn't admit, but it's whatever. I'm really curious to know what you guys personally think about NIGHTREIGN. Do you like it? Do you hate it? I've always wanted to know people's perspectives because this game seems really divisive. FromSoftware hasn't really had a divisive game like this in a while. So whatever thoughts you have on the game, just let me know. I'd love to converse with you guys. But regardless, if you enjoyed this video, why not drop me a like, a sub, the usual biz. My name is Shen, and I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are. I love y'all, and it's been real. Peace.